Welcome to what for us is a unique event to discuss the critical need for a healthy bipartisan leadership at this time of COVID-19. I'm Christine Todd Whitman, and I'm delighted to be co-chair of the National Institute for Civil Discourse.
And I'm Tom Daschle, and I'm one of the co-chairs as well, along with Christy. I'm delighted to join her and Keith in having this unique opportunity to discuss the critical nature of bipartisanship as we look to our response to the COVID-19 crisis that we're all facing.
Hi, I'm Keith Allred. I'm NICD's Executive Director. Our mission is to build capacity to engage differences constructively. Tonight, we're going to focus on how we can all pull together to mitigate the challenges from COVID-19 and emerge stronger than ever.
I think the most important thing is for us to all begin to acknowledge that this is biology at play. This isn't Congress, this isn't a foreign power, this is biology.
As we think about the surprise billing, it's related to both affordability, which often is access. If you can't afford it, you don't have access. And so the surprise billing work that's going on, and I think that work we've seen on the Senate side in terms of Lamar Alexander and Patty Murray, doing some great work there. There's also a bipartisan bill on the House side as well.
The surprise medical billing has been one of those cases, as you mentioned, where prior to the COVID-19 outbreak, there was really substantial bipartisan work to address a real issue for Americans.
I think the Institute's done wonderful work there in bringing people together. Sometimes it's as simple as, hey, here's an issue that should have no partisan background, and let's just get some people together. And I think that's what the National Institute for Civil Discourse has done here, and found that there is significant common ground that can be had. So I say keep it moving. And this is a great one. Nobody likes to get these bills and not know what they're for, whether you're Republican or Democrat. So this is a significant issue that is important to a lot of Americans.
Thank you for inviting me here today. It's been a long, hard haul, but I'm getting better. I'm working hard, lots of therapy, speech therapy, physical therapy, and yoga too. But my spirit's strong as ever. I'm still fighting to make the world a better place, and you can too.
You've heard surprise medical billing mentioned a couple of times tonight as a promising example of bipartisanship in Congress. The members of CommonSense American agree. NICD launched CommonSense American last year, and over 13,000 Americans have already joined. They come from every state in the country. 25% are Republicans, 45% independents, and 24% Democrats. 6% belong to another party. Together, we identify federal policy proposals wise enough to attract broad bipartisan support. The members of CommonSense American chose surprise medical billing as one of the first 3 issues to take on this year. That meant that we prepared a thorough brief on the topic. The brief makes the strongest case for and against each of the bills to end surprise billing. It also reviews the relevant data. Then, more than 4,000, or 1/3 of our 13,000 plus members, were randomly assigned to spend 90 minutes reviewing that brief and then sharing their views. After reviewing our brief, our members indicated whether they support or oppose each bill and then answer some open-ended questions. Our most obvious result is that our members overwhelmingly support ending surprise medical billing. Their main concern is that Congress not get lost in the weeds on the details of the bills, but get something reasonable passed and passed soon. Here's some of the reasons our members gave for wanting Congress to act and act now. Christian is an independent from California. He said, regardless of the bills proposed, there is a need to address this issue. Indiscriminately charging a person for emergency or ancillary services at rates that are excessive is unethical, especially in cases where the patient has no ability to render a decision. Matthew, a Republican from Arizona, recorded a video to share how his experience has shaped his views.
In just September, my wife was flown 100 miles from our hometown while we were waiting on authorizations and pre-approvals. She was flown 100 miles from our local emergency room to Las Vegas for 3 emergency surgeries. The hospital took her plan, but the surgeon's office did not. The lab did not. The anesthesiologist did not. We're going to get slapped with thousands and thousands of dollars that I don't know how we'll ever pay.
Alyssa is a Democrat from New Mexico. She said, "Unfortunately, I have used emergency services such as ambulances and air transport for my infant son. The resulting bills came at a time of trauma and hardship. These bills were inappropriately timed and arrived when, mentally and emotionally, the family was not able to deal with insurance and investigation. We had to do it, however, since they amounted to over $1 million. During my fact-finding phone calls, I spent outrageous amounts of time on hold. It was immense, overwhelming, and lacked empathy for the patient. I am grateful, extremely grateful, for the medical expertise which saved my son's life, but I am confident that there is a more responsible way to approach billing and payment for these services." Brian, an independent from Michigan, also recorded a video to share his views.
Hi, I think it's a great idea to include the public in discussing the various options for ending surprise billing. The very idea that such a thing exists in this country is really quite unimaginable to me. Nobody should be forced to pay a bill when they haven't agreed to the service. That just should be outlawed immediately. It can be outlawed without any sort of resolution system in place, as far as I'm concerned. Let providers and insurance companies duke it out. But I do think that all of these plans have merit, and I'm glad to see Congress is doing something about it. This addresses a concern that many people across the country have, and I'm glad to have the opportunity to be a part of it.
The bills in Congress differ in which of these types of surprise bills they prohibit, but our members overwhelmingly agree they should all end. By more than 90%, our members support ending surprise medical billing for emergency, ancillary, ground ambulance, air ambulance, and post-emergency stabilization services. We looked at all 5 proposed bills, but tonight we'll share our results on the 2 bills that Congress is now considering most seriously. The first of those is H.R. 5826. It takes an independent dispute resolution approach to end surprise bills for emergency, ancillary, and post-emergency stabilization services. It would not end surprise bills for ground ambulances and would study ending them for air ambulances. 35% of our members support H.R. 5826 and 65% oppose it. Here's how some of our members who prefer H.R. 5826 explain their thinking. Suzanne is an independent from Missouri. She said, "I feel that H.R. 5826 promotes more of a free market position. I am adamantly opposed to price fixing by government for anything. This is the surest way to reduce availability of services. If providers cannot have a say in what they can afford to provide a service for, they will indeed stop providing, or the quality of those who continue to provide will decline." Deanne is an independent from Alabama. She said, "Sometimes federal government intervention makes a problem worse. It's the law of unintended consequences. This country is not a one-size-fits-all country." The other bill Congress is seriously considering is H.R. 5800. Of the 5 bipartisan bills introduced, it receives by far the broadest support among our members. It takes a combined approach. It establishes a payment standard which can be appealed in a specific case by either party to arbitration. H.R. 5800 is the most comprehensive of all the bills for the kinds of surprise bills it would prohibit. It would prohibit surprise bills for emergency, ancillary, post-emergency stabilization, and air ambulances. It would study how to end surprise bills for ground ambulances. 81% of our members support H.R. 5800. 19% oppose it. Here's how some of our members who preferred this bill explained their thinking. Donald, a Democrat from Oklahoma, said, "I could support either of the House bills that use the combined approach, but prefer the one that includes a study of ground ambulance services." Anthony, an independent from Michigan, recorded a video to share his views.
My view is that I support House Resolution 5800 because it more correctly addresses the issues and concerns of abuse and manipulation by insurers or providers. It more concretely addresses the concerns and the call for action by consumers and patients in a more effective way than House Resolution 2328.
Rob, an independent from Massachusetts, also explained his preference in a video.
Anything that was as close to the free market driving rates, I was a fan of.
To summarize, of the two bills Congress is seriously considering, H.R. 5800 receives far broader support than H.R. 5826. In fact, H.R. 5800 received considerably more support than any of the 5 bipartisan pieces of surprise billing legislation before Congress. In the coming weeks, our members will be contacting their members of Congress to share their own views. If you'd like to find out more about these bills or see our full results, please go to commonsenseamerican.org. Better yet, we invite you to go to the website to join us and weigh in yourself and help us bring common sense to Washington. We want to thank Republican and Democratic leaders in Congress who have been working on this. They've set an impressive example for how we engage our differences constructively to make wise decisions. Our thanks to Senators Alexander, Murray, Cassidy, and Hassan, and the rest of the Senate Help Committee. Thanks also to Representatives Pallone, Walden, and the rest of the House Energy and Commerce Committee, to Representatives Neal and Brady and the rest of the House Ways and Means Committee, and to Representatives Scott and Fox and the rest of the Education and Labor Committee. We'd also like to thank the Trump administration for its leadership in finding a bipartisan way to end surprise billing. Just recently, Secretary Azar and the Department of Health and Human Services have required that hospitals and doctors who accept federal support from the COVID-19 support package commit to not saddling those they treat for COVID-19 with surprise bills. We hope that Common Sense Americans' work is helpful to Congress and the administration as they do the important work of ending surprise medical billing and finding other common sense responses to COVID-19.